BML is a bank in the Maldives which was created in 1982 and has been listed on the stock exchange for a number of years. We are the preeminent bank in the Maldives. We have a market share of over 50% and we serve over 300,000 Maldivians for their banking needs on a daily basis. It's not a small organization. We have assets of over 40 billion rupiah and we make a profit of about 2 billion rupiah every year. And from those profits, we also pay the government about 750 million rupiah a year in taxes. So we're a very important part of the economy. We've been around for 40 years, and we hope to be around for the next 40 years. I think BML has always had a shareholding of the government of Maldives of 60% plus, and when we first started we had 40% held by the IFC. With time we'd actually like Maldivians to be owners of their own bank, and through that the IFC divested their shareholding and we opened up our shareholding to the broader Maldivians. It's important for Maldivians to own their own assets and also to get a feeling for savings and also how stock markets work. So we would like more Maldivians to own shares in the organisation and to trade our shares more often. It's a wonderful investment to have, and our dividends have increased every single year since we started operations. BML currently has about 6,017 shareholders. They vary in size from people owning one share up to people owning hundreds of thousands of shares. So there's over 5 million shares in issue. What is interesting is, like the rest of the world, is the majority of the shares are held by people over the age of 35. The Bank of Maldives share price is currently around 700 rupiah per share, has been as high as 900 rupiah per share this year. It offers wonderful value to investors as in fact that the net asset value of the share is significantly higher. So the share price does trade at a slight discount, and therefore for the wise investor creates enormous value. As an investment, obviously we have a shareholding which is a free float of over 30%. Like many shares in the Maldives Stock Exchange, the shares are not necessarily traded to a large volume. Many investors like to hold those shares for maturity and forever because they are a good investment. They do give a good return. People tend to hold them forever and not to trade them. So we find them very lightly traded with blocks of shareholders keeping them for numbers of years. BML has a dividend policy which is based around the profits of the bank on a yearly basis. We obviously have to meet certain regulatory returns set by the MMA, and if we meet those returns, the bank is adequately capitalized. We don't see any need to store huge amounts of capital in the organization, and we pay it back to our shareholders. So you will see every year a steady growth in the dividend on the year before, and this year and next year will be no different. As we know that over the last couple of years, BML has gone on a path of digitalization. We brought a number of new products to the market, to the Maldives in particular. I think you can see in terms of our mobile app, in terms of our internet banking proposition, and of course our payment system, much of it is digital. We need to remember that we do over 22,000 transactions every day through our ATM machines. Digitalization has been a thing throughout the world. We are no different in the Maldives. COVID did strike. That did accelerate the entire digitalization process globally, and we have felt it ourselves. So at the moment, almost 90% of all our transactions are done through digital channels, with only 10% done through our branches. And this is something we expect to happen in the future. So BML, as the preeminent bank in the Maldives, is obviously intrinsically involved in the economy of the country. We will therefore be as successful as the economy is, and as long as the tourism industry is doing well, our exposure to that industry will allow us to give more loans, and we will continue to support the economic growth of the country. We are a very big provider of personal loans to individuals, and of course to residential home loans as well. We see no changes in that as long as the country continues to do do well, and as long as our tourist arrivals continue to increase. We will, of course, bring new products and services as the market requires them. And certainly this year, we'll be bringing a number of new changes in 2024 into how we open our accounts and to streamline our processes to make them more customer friendly and hopefully have less customer resistance and complaints. The one thing we can assure our shareholders is the bank is in a robust position. We will continue to generate profits for the foreseeable future. We will continue to give our shareholders a worthwhile dividend, which has increased every single year, certainly for the last 10 years, and we see it to be no different for next year. The bank trades well, we see no reason for it to change, and therefore they should get a good return on their investments.